My name is Ulf Bang, and I would like to show you some of the news that we have implemented in the week 49 2022 release of SystemairCAD called H5. So let's begin by configuring a standard Geniox unit size 16, like that. We did a bit of a cleanup here in the unit data dialog. We had many informations in the dialog, and we sort of grouped them more and also made it more easy to sort of get the overview by having these bars in between. You see in the top we have casing options, in the middle here we have hygienic options, then we have the roof options, and down here below we have duct connections. As you can see, the base frame information is disappeared. That we isolated in a dialog by itself. So if I double click the base frame, I will actually get a unit base frame dialog. Same options as always, just a separate dialog. We also put in a new icon for this separate dialog, because it is possible to actually remove the base frame from the unit, and then it is possible to put them back on by activating this icon. You can of course still right click and select a base frame of the required height. If we look at the duct connections, there's also a new option. It is possible now to select them in dark gray in this RAL 7024, and that's the same color as the post of the casing. You'll not be able to see the difference in the drawing, but they will be the same color as the posts. If we should finalize the duct functions and features that are new, then you can see that the new concept that we have made for the sound attenuators are implemented also for the duct sound attenuators. And here you can see we can select between 600, 900 and 1200 millimeters sound attenuators. We of course have dry, wet cleaning, and we can also, like in the internal duct sound attenuators, select between a spacing of 50 millimeters or 75, so we can optimize the attenuation and the pressure drop a bit. If we try to generate a Geniox core, just take a basic one, again size 16, and go into the unit dialog. We suddenly have a new icon down here in the bottom. So if I make this an outdoor unit, then I can select between the old type of louvres and a new type of louvre. So let me put on this new type of louvre, and here you can see I get one where I have the fresh air on the inspection side and the exhaust on the back side of the unit. I can of course also change that, so if I mirror the louvre, then I will have the opposite directions of the exhaust and the inlet. So the final thing that I will talk about is also the biggest news in this version of SystemairCAD. It is control system. We have rewritten the control system completely, and if you go into the control system dialog, it is possible to select a new system in this top dialog here with the control system. And if you select access control system 2.0, then the dialog will change and you will get access to the new way of selecting the control system. The two systems will run in parallel for some time. The dialog is divided in 4 tabs. We have configuration, detail feature, flowchart, and component list. Configuration is the selections that will affect the hardware. That means it activates sensors or the functionality that includes some kind of hardware. Detail features are only software settings. Then of course it generates the flowchart, where you can see this, where the sensors are placed. And there's also the option to rename the sensor and give a user-specific name for the sensor. So for example, if we decide that all the temperature sensors should be named from T1 and up, just to give an example, T4 and T5, and we have a T6 as well. There we go. This will also appear if we look at the flowchart here. You can see that now we have the username of this temperature sensor in the extract air. It's also possible to load these values to the project, and then we can load from the project if you want to copy them from one unit to another unit in the same project. We also have items that are red and items that are green. So let's just look at a few settings here so we can see some more options. So if I quickly run through, I can see the basic of the control system. I have a navipad delivered. I have a cable entry in the bottom of the switchboard, user language English. Temperature control, I would say supply air, outdoor air compensated, and I would like an outdoor temperature sensor for the compensation. I have no need of defrosting for the heat exchanger, but I would like to have EATR control, and I need a 20 Pascal difference here. Fan control, I would say duct pressure controlled. I would like to have a CO2 so I can have a high airflow if the CO2 level becomes too high. I will not have any compensations. Let's see, extended operation. Yes, please. I would like a timer so I can have it run at 1 extra hour in the evening. A shut-off damper actuator. I would like to have spring return both on outdoor air and extract air, so that this damper sort of shut down if the power connection fails. Smoke fire alarm. Let's select smoke detector in supply and extract air. For the heater, we have a 2-port ball valve for frost protection and immersion sensor, and the kVS value is calculated automatically. And I think that's it. So let's go to the flowchart. And here I can see that I have, for example, a BT7 that is green. So if I right click that one, I can see that's delivered, but I can select also not delivered if the customer would like to supply that sensor himself. You can also see that for the BP4, the extract air pressure sensor is green here, and I can also select delivered or not delivered for that component. Let's say we are content with the selection, and I say OK, and I calculate the unit. Go to printout. In this area, I have a bunch of new settings down here in the lower right corner for the control system. Here I can select if I want the printout of the control system as a PDF or a Word document. I can also select if I want the flowchart in color or black and white. I can get function description, list of delivered components, external connections in a graphical presentation. I can also get a list of communication parameters for Modbus, BACnet, or both. So let's select BACnet. So let's try to generate a printout. I have full technical specification. Yes. Print and preview. So the system will generate 2 documents. We have the normal printout from SystemairCAD, where we get all the technical specifications, the overview of the unit, the eco design calculation, what you see, the basic information about the access control system and the power connections. We have all the technical documentation for all the parts. In the end, we have a small description of the control system. We have the flowchart. We have a component list saying what is installed from factory and what should be installed from the on the building side. And in the end, we have a configuration list where you can see everything that is selected as a documentation of the setup of the control system. So that was the technical printout. So the documents we created for the control system is first the flowchart, where we can see how the sensors are placed in the unit. Next, we can see the, if I just rotate the view here, that's a list, a cross-reference table between the user names, user-defined names, and the SystemairCAD default names for all the sensors. And here again we can see that we renamed the temperature sensors to T1 to T6, and we can see that in the function description we can see that the user names are embedded in the text. We can also see down here in the cooling recovery, when extract air temperature T4 is lower than the settable temperature difference to intake temperature T1 during cooling operation, exchange a 100% rotor operation. It also includes a list of the alarms. And then on the next page, after the function description, we have the component list, where we can see all the components. It's the same as we saw in the dialog for the control system. Reference name, of course, SystemairCAD ID, description, type of sensor, and if it is factory installed or something that we just supply from factory, and then it should be mounted on the building site. Next, we have the graphical presentation of the external connections. So here we can see every sensor, every component that you need to mount in the ducts or outside the unit somehow, how it's connected in the switchboard here on the right side, and how it's connected inside the component. So this represents all external components. The very last is, let's just rotate the view again so we can see. This is the BACnet list of communication variables, where we can see the reference name of the sensor, once again, the SystemairCAD ID, a small description, and then the value, and also the alarm indication. And here it's also possible to give comments or whatever if you want to put something in, especially if it is generated as a Word document. So this was a fast run through the new functionality of the week 49 release of SystemairCAD here from 2022 called H5. I hope you will enjoy the new version, and thank you for listening.